Hello and welcome back to Haverhill Public Schools' fourth edition of our weekly video update. Superintendent Margaret Murata, joined by Assistant Superintendent Michael Pifferling.
Hi, it's great to be back.
It sure is. We've got a lot to cover today. Mike and I are going to give you a brief update on schooling moving forward. We have a little bit more information from the state regarding the fall and the summer. Not all the details yet, but a little bit more information. We're also going to be joined by faculty members Anthony Paralisi and Patrick Quigley, who are working on the MASH, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, in Haverhill, as well as our kindergarten registration information through our parent center. And we'll be joining high school graduation at Haverhill High School's remote graduation. So it should be lots of fun.
Sounds like a busy day.
It will be. So welcome back, and it's Mike and I again, and I just got off a call with Commissioner Riley where he was talking a little bit more in detail about what school might look like in the fall, as well as this summer. He did indicate that there will be a plan coming out from the Department of Education, hopefully sometime in mid-June, that will speak more clearly about the fall. And that there will be some specific guidance around what school will look like in terms of if it's a remote learning situation, if it's a hybrid model, or if it's more traditional sort of school as we are accustomed to with social distancing. Sounds like they're going to offer a couple of different options from which school systems can choose from based on their population, their needs, and maybe sort of where the disease is at any given time in their community. So it gives us something to plan from. So I was thankful for that. He also spoke about the fact that, we'll need to have some very specific PPE, a term we've all come to know and love, in our schools in the fall, in terms of, masks and gloves and sneeze guards and all those things which we suspected, but he was very clear that those will be mandated masks for children. I believe they said 6 and up, although they may take it down to kindergarten, as well as for staff, as long as they're healthy enough to wear them. And temperature screening. And I know, Mike, we've been looking at this in our schools and thinking about different ways to accomplish and make sure that everybody's safe in the schools already. Can you talk a little bit more about the work that your group is doing?
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of planning, research and planning around different things around masks, and more specifically, more recently about the thermometers, portable thermometers that we can do temperature checks rapidly throughout schools, at entrances, throughout the building, throughout the day. So we are in the research process right now of identifying something that's portable, something that's cost effective for the district. But we're also fortunate to have some federal funds right now open to us to invest in some of this PPE that we need to get for our schools to be open for either the summer or the fall. So working closely with our facilities department and our director of nursing, as well as a team of other co-workers from around the city here, to identify things that we need to have in place for when school does open back up. So we're taking a look at all those things. We're also looking at technology. And, I think we all know when we come back to school, the old days of having a cart of devices that students share throughout the day with other students in other classes, those days are probably in the way of the past. So we're also looking at finding a way that we can become a one-to-one, one device per one student district, and what that investment looks like. And hopefully we can use some of those federal funds that are available to us to get to that initiative. Hand sanitizing stations throughout the district. What do our restrooms look like? Do they have automatic hand sensors for washing your hands? Currently, a lot of them are old style faucets. So we have to look at a bunch of different things, and we've got a team together looking to see what we need to put together in order to make this a safer environment, a safer COVID environment for when our students come back to school and staff. So,
Oh, that's great. That's great, Mike. So one of the things the commissioner did mention is that hopefully the beginning of next week, they're going to have a preliminary list of things that will be mandated in schools for the fall and for the summer available to us. And that the Department of Education will be purchasing for us a small number of those things. But many of those things will be expected to purchase either with local dollars or with the CARES Act money, and that we will need them in advance of school opening. They've been talking to manufacturers and they're expecting at least a 60-day lead time for anyone to get these thermometers, these sorts of things, even now. So I think we're going to be hopping to it next week and figuring out exactly what we need and purchasing these things to get ahead of the curve, hopefully a little bit for September.
yeah, I think it's one of those things that we want to sample a few, get them in, identify which ones work best for our environment, which ones are easiest for our staff to use. So, it's not always about price or availability. It's also about what's going to best meet the needs of our students and staff.
Yeah, so I guess we're gonna have to, balance out that sampling and finding the best, and we're gonna end up in a situation, I think, much like hand sanitizer and toilet paper, with some of these temperature gauges and some of the, well, masks are already in that situation, so they're expecting a shortage. So I guess we'll have to get on that. So we'll be doing the best we can to locate those supplies as we'll need them for school to open. Um, and we are hoping in the middle of next week, they tell us there might be some guidance around summer school. It's still unclear what summer school is going to look like. I think they are encouraging to the extent possible to do remote summer programming. I think most people would agree that for kids that struggle in particular, distance learning is not the most effective way. So we are holding out in hopes of having some in-person summer programming, but it sounds like we should know that by the middle of next week.
Can't wait. Should be exciting news.
Yeah, it should be an exciting week next week. We're going to get guidance on PPE and summer school, so we look forward to that. So yeah, I mean, I know, Mike, you and I are both, working on things every day with our teams and trying to stay a little bit ahead of the curve, but not so far ahead of the curve that we're too far out ahead and we end up, stepping in the wrong direction. So it's a little bit of a delicate tightrope walk.
Yeah. I think it was great today visiting the high school and seeing some of the students walk across the stage. So it's just a fantastic experience, for such a horrible situation. And these students have put in 13 years of their lives to get to this point. They really had some great spirit there today. And it was great to see that yesterday and today.
Yeah, it was incredible. I think the teamwork that's happened at the high school to pull this off is absolutely phenomenal. And the dedication, it was hot out there and they were there yesterday and they'll be there every day this week and Saturday, handing out the diplomas student by student, family by family, so that every child gets the recognition they deserve for, 13 years of really hard work. So really impressed with the great work of the high school staff and with all our seniors.
Great job.
Yeah. Well, we have an interesting lineup today and look forward to speaking to you all later.
Hello. Mike and Margaret back again. We're here at Haverhill High School's first ever virtual graduation. We thought we would show people what it looks like and how we're getting graduation done for our seniors this year.
Yeah, it's a little windy out here, which is nice, keeping the heat down. It's about 85 degrees, so that's great. And the graduates are coming across the stage right now. We got one up there going across the stage right now, getting a diploma. Maybe a little far away, but families are up close getting pictures, and everybody's keeping their social distance out here. So, beautiful day.
Yeah, maybe we can we'll go through, show you a graduate go through, and then the sort of process. There's a little picture taking area, and just show people what's going on.
Alicia Brown.
Yeah. All right. I figure. One more. Look at me. There you go. Nice job.
So while our graduation portion where students get their diplomas is socially distanced, we do have an opportunity afterwards for families and students to get together and take pictures, just like at a typical graduation, giving everybody an opportunity, trying to keep as much tradition as we can alive. All right. So I'm joined by David Brinkley this afternoon. David, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's exciting. A little bit different.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Definitely different than what a normal graduation would look like, but it's definitely nice to have this done for us, though.
Yeah. So how are you sort of adapting? What's your family doing today?
So we all wear masks, obviously. Yep. We're gonna try to just keep it going as fast as possible, just try to get to the end and take our pictures as everybody can. And we have made a post about like it's a drive-through quarantine graduation, just to make a light of it and try to make like a fun situation out of all of it.
Awesome. Well, that's great. What are your plans for next year? Do you have any?
So I'm
settled?
intending on going to NECO for 2 years. I'm going to do the mass transfer system there, and I'm going to be staying working at, or at least hoping I'm going to stay working at Chick-fil-A and try to like raise some money so I can get a car for myself, and then see where I go from there, transferring off to UMass.
Excellent. Well, good for you. It seems
Thank
like
you.
you're a hard worker. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. And I'm here with Kate Lally, Haverhill High School Assistant Principal. Kate's helping to organize this event. Can you tell us a little bit about how it's going, what's working?
It's actually going really well. Families have been great. Everybody here has been very supportive. We've got a good plan going. We're right on schedule. The kids come in, the scholars are signing the board, so we have something for them. And then they're going up individually. Families are liking the pictures that we're providing, and they love the individual attention their scholars are getting.
That's great. This must have taken a lot of planning.
It was a lot of planning. It's a lot of teamwork. So it's nice to everybody be working together.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much on this warm day for being here and keeping things going.
Absolutely. Wouldn't be anywhere else.
All right.
Wolfgang Berger.
Whoa!
That's what, right there. Good. Yeah, big smile. Almost.
Congratulations to you. Okay, and we have Mr. Glenn Burns and also Ms. Jamie Dion here on the stage presenting diplomas to our students. Want to say a quick hello to everyone?
Hello, congratulations, class of 2020. We're glad that we're able to do this and have the whole community participate in this event. It'll be live on June 5th, and we'll be sending out the links to the whole community to watch all their senior Hillies graduate.
Excellent, thank you, and thank you, Dion, Director of Guidance. Appreciate your
Congratulations, class of 2020.
excellent. Thank you, guys.
Hi, I'm joined by Andrea Sheehan of our Parent Information Center and Registration Center this afternoon. Andrea, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I was hoping that you could share with families a little bit about our registration process in general, maybe with particular emphasis on kindergarten registration and how things have changed now that we're trying to do more things online.
Absolutely. That would be great. So we are in the process of registering the incoming class, the 2020-2021 kindergartners for the upcoming year. With our office closed, we've been conducting business over the phone and by email, and it's actually going very well. What we're asking, if you need an appointment, is you can always call our registration office at 978-420-1951 and leave your information, and someone will call you back shortly. Or you can go on to our website at haverhill-ps.org, and there's a link there to request a registration appointment. It just asks for some basic information, phone and email. Hit submit, and then we will reach you back shortly thereafter. One thing I do want to note is that when we call you, because we're calling from outside of the office, the call will show up as an unknown caller. I know lots of times folks don't want to pick up those calls, but it's us, so please pick up the phone. From there, we can schedule an appointment with you. Usually they're about a half an hour to go through your child's basic information, get the registration form itself filled out, and then go over with you other paperwork that is necessary for registration. So in advance of requesting an appointment, you can go to the registration page on the website, and there's a list of required documents. And that hasn't changed. Basic information about, we were asking for a birth certificate, a photo ID from a parent, proof of residency, which is either a mortgage or a lease payment or receipt, a Section 8 agreement, or a notarized statement from a landlord that you are living at a Haverhill address. That's really important. Asking for those documents back, and then in conjunction with our conversation, our registration nurse will reach out separately to go over the child's medical history and immunizations so that we can be sure to have that information as well. So after the appointment is complete, we're asking parents, if possible, to scan back the documents that we need. Or if you don't have a scanner, you could take a screenshot with a phone and send them as attachments, or you can mail them to the registration office at 45 Fountain Street in Haverhill. Then we match up the documentation to the appointment, clear the child, and then you will receive a school assignment. And it's really important that people try to come and do, try not to come, but try to complete the registration process as soon as possible, because we will be sending out school assignments in June, and we want to be sure to include as many people as possible at that time.
Right, especially for our kindergarten students, so that we can know who to plan for in the fall.
Absolutely. And just a note that school assignments go according to a home address, so that hopefully, students will all be attending their school, their kind of home zone, close to home. And we'd love to get everybody squared away as soon as possible, so you have lots of time to prepare.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it sounds like this really can be done over the phone, all the work with some back and forth over the computer. I know that this is translated into Spanish, this, I don't know what this is called, video cast. And I know that you also have folks in your office that are Spanish speaking. So if people aren't English speaking, they can call as well, and you'll have a Spanish speaking person call them back.
Yep, absolutely. We have someone who speaks Spanish, and I should note that all of our documents are available in both English and Spanish, and they are also available as fillable PDFs. So you don't even have to print out anything at home. You can just download it, fill it out on the computer, and just upload it back. So we're trying to make everything as easy as possible. And for people who need some extra help, or you don't have a scanner or you don't have a phone, we're happy to work with you to find solutions to get done what we need to.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. And address changes, those go through you as well? How do people, if people have moved over the last couple of months, and how do they handle that?
Sure. So address changes have been handled exclusively at registration over the past year. We actually just developed a form to use to report moves. You can contact registration for a move, or you can also contact your child's school for a move. We made that change just because it's more convenient at this time, that things are a little bit more, not difficult, but a little bit more challenging to get volumes of people through. So what you have to do is, either you can contact the child's school or registration. They will ask you to fill out the form. It's just your name, your old address, your new address, and the child's information. You need to provide, again, a photo ID, a utility bill, and it's the same documentation for residency for a new registration, a mortgage or a lease or a Section 8 agreement. Once we have the documentation, we'll make the change. If the change results in a change of schools for the child, we will let you know that at the time.
Excellent.
And that document is also available online.
Great, thank you. And finally, one thing I hear from families sometimes, and I don't think this is registration, but it's kind of tied into registration. They will speak Spanish, or maybe they don't speak Spanish, and they'll say, I get my calls in Spanish and I don't know why, or I don't get my calls in Spanish. Why is that? I'd like them in Spanish. And I think that has to do with some information that they fill out when they register. Is that correct?
It is. When you register, there's a part of the form that asks if you would like your communication in Spanish or a language other than English. If you check that off, that gets entered into our database that way, which ties into our automated calls and emails. So by doing that, you're kind of flipping the switch for the communication to go in Spanish. If you prefer that it not, don't check off that you would like communication in Spanish.
Okay, that's great. So I imagine some people come in and they don't really understand the importance of checking that box, or maybe they registered many years ago and their English is much better now and they prefer communication in English. So that's just a conversation with people at the school level, or how would people correct that if it was wrong?
They could report it to the school, but they're always free to call registration and we'll correct it right there. I think is probably the easiest thing. And I think a lot of people don't understand when they check it off that it means you're receiving communication exclusively in that language. It's not English and Spanish. It's one or the other.
Okay, great. That's really helpful. Okay, so it sounds like it's really time for people, if they have a 5-year-old at home that's entering kindergarten next year, even though it's a little bit scary time, to get them registered so we can plan for the fall for them, whether it's going to be a remote learning or an in-person learning or whatever the fall is. We need to know that the kids are out there so that we can plan for them. So it sounds like it's time for people to get out there and do that.
Yep, it absolutely is time. It's a very easy process. We have a great staff who will do everything they can to make it as easy and convenient as possible. So by all means, make an appointment. I do see that as time goes on and we get into the summer, that the appointments are going to be booking more heavily. So all the more reason to request an appointment now. We can do it at your convenience and get your child squared away nice and early.
All right, sounds good, Andrea. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you again.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Hello, I'm here joined this afternoon by Anthony Paralisi and Patrick Quigley, 2 staff members of Haverhill Public Schools who are doing some great work in partnership with our community to support the needs of people across Haverhill during the COVID crisis. Good afternoon, Patrick and Anthony. How are you today?
Good afternoon. Doing very, very well. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Morana. Hope you are as well.
Yeah, hanging in. Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about the mask program that you all have created with a team of people and the good work that you've been doing?
Yeah, absolutely. MASH is the Mutual Aid Society of Haverhill, and it's an idea that I had basically stolen from a couple other communities around Massachusetts who, right when the pandemic hit, immediately saw a need to find neighbors, to help neighbors in need. And we just started putting people together. So I reached out to colleagues throughout the HEA, and Patrick jumped in right away and offered his services as a social worker and as a liaison with the guidance and counseling department through the high school and the Haverhill Public Schools. We got involved with the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club. Representative Vargas's office has chipped in. Councilor Barrett and other city councilors have been involved, school committee members. So it's been a really just positive, collaborative effort to identify those neighbors and those needs that they have and connect them with people who have resources and capabilities to help them. It's been, really empowering and a positive force. Patrick, do you have anything you want to say from your end?
I'd just like to start by thanking both you, Anthony, and Dr. Murata for creating such an engaging space for us to be able to not just think about the education of our students and our families, right? But also how we remove barriers so that kids can be really successful in school. And fairly early on in the crisis, as you said, Anthony, we started to get together with lots of different kinds of people, right? Lots of different community organizers and community providers of important services, city and local government, and then the Congressman Vargas's office. And we really understood that it was going to be important for us to create a one-stop shop for people to get the things that they needed, because we couldn't predict what families were going to struggle with or need over the coming weeks and months. And so we, at the very least, could create a big front door door, a big portal, a big welcoming space where it doesn't matter what you're looking for. You can come and know that someone's going to have a friendly voice at the other end of the phone, pick up the phone, listen to what you need, and start to kind of wrap you around the many different kinds of supports that we have in Haverhill. Lots and lots and lots of different people have like leapt out of their corners of the world and said, please let me help you. And this is the one place that we can organize and understand and kind of bring all those people together. Because if we're not working together during this problem, then we're not going to be effective as we can. And I think that this is a really great start to kind of use 311 as that clearinghouse, that first place to go, and then really kind of go from there and allow that to be the place where we go out and kind of figure out, okay, you need X or you need Y or you need Z. We can go out and get those things and kind of bring them into the MASH world and into the city and into the school district.
So if I needed something, I would call 311.
Yeah, the 311 line is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it's bilingual. So there's always someone who speaks English and there's always someone who speaks Spanish. If that's not a language that you feel comfortable in, you can let us know right through those numbers, and we will find someone who speaks a language that is like familiar and comfortable for you, and we'll get you on the phone with that person so we can understand what you need. From inside the city of Haverhill, you should call the number 311, and that should connect you to the city. But if you're outside the city limits, or maybe you have a cell phone that's not like coded for the city, you can call the 978-228-5322 number. And that number is open from 8 a.m. in the morning until 4 p.m. Monday through Friday.
And what kinds of requests have you been supporting people around?
So most of the requests we've gotten have been for food support. We've got two or three different avenues to help people who are facing food insecurity. The recreation department has been taking the lead on helping the elderly and disabled. They have a process for Corey checking those volunteers for that vulnerable population. So they've taken the lead on that, and they're accepting donations through the rec department's website, which is linked on the MASH page, to help pay for those groceries. We have a long list of volunteers who get called, whether through that service, whether through 311 directly, or whether through one of our Spanish-speaking liaisons if we have someone who's English, who's not comfortable in English. So that all they really have to do is provide a list of what they're looking for in terms of food. One of our volunteers gets the list and a voucher, brings the food, no contact delivery, drop off, and then and then brings the receipts back to City Hall. So it's a really, really simple and seamless process. And if I forgot to mention, I want to say thank you to Allison Hartquist and the 311 ladies, because they have been instrumental in putting all this together. They've worked to deliver masks. We've had handmade masks made by our members. Residents from around the city have been donating them, and I've been dropping those off at City Hall every other week or so. We even had some of those same residents make thank you boxes for essential workers, so that City Hall staff can stop by the mayor's office, grab one of these boxes, and just give it to your drive-through worker or your healthcare provider, to say thank you for the essential work that they're doing at this time. So that was probably the biggest thing. We've had other requests for housing assistance, which we send to Representative Vargas's office. They've been really great at helping people find housing. Other people, we referred back to the school department for technology issues, anything related to the students. We wanted everyone to have a lane so that we weren't duplicating efforts and helping students that were in the purview of the schools, or helping, or crossing our wires with Vinnie Willette in the rec department, with the elderly. So by having that big one front door through 311, it's been really, really helpful in making sure that we're efficient in delivering these services, and we can adapt as the needs taper off or move with changing information during the pandemic.
One of the things that we know sort of nationally, and certainly is true for some of us, right, is that people have stopped doing things that they normally have been doing in their lives, right? And one of the things that has been neglected is people have stopped going to their healthcare providers and their mental health care providers, and that has started to present unique challenges, right? We know that just because people are not going to the hospital for heart attacks doesn't mean that there are fewer heart attacks going on nationally. People are just trying to do their best and trying to prioritize and trying to stay safe. And so we've also tried to organize and collate information about medical and mental health wellness resources that are available through 311, and talk about immediate openings and immediate referrals that we can help collect connect families to today. We are also starting to explore and discuss, as we move into the end of the school year and into the summer, what are kids going to be doing during the summer, and how can you figure out like what kind of childcare services or summer camp or youth development kind of supports are available. And those information and those resources are going to be shared through 3112. So I just encourage you, like regardless of what you are looking for or what you need, to start with 311 and start with your school and talk to them, and we can understand and figure this out together if you just give us a call.
Excellent. Well, I can't say thank you enough. It's a really impressive initiative that you all have built from the ground up. It's a great team, and I'm sure I speak for everyone across Haverhill to say thank you. Any last words or anything you know before we say goodbye?
No, I just want to thank you for your support and for giving us this platform to get the word out. You know, the online meeting is a difficult world to to navigate, and to try to get as many people as we've had on some of the conference calls. We've used the school system Google Meets feature to bring people in on those conversations. So we thank you for allowing us to do that as well. It's been integral in keeping people connected.
I'd just like to say congratulations to our seniors who started their graduation ceremony yesterday, and a big congratulations and shout out to parents who are working tirelessly, right, every day to not just kind of take care of their professional responsibilities, but also take care of kids and like get them across the finish line. This has been a tough slog for everyone, but I think especially parents, and I want to shout them out. And thank you again, Dr. Murata, for the opportunity.
Well, thank you both for seeing this need and taking it on. It's really impressive. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for joining us again today for our weekly video update. I really appreciate all the great feedback, positive feedback that I had from community members and teachers about this video cast. It's nice to know that people are watching it and find it helpful. We're going to continue every week until the end of the school year. So as always, if you have any questions or any topics that you'd like to have covered during the video cast, you can shoot me an email at superintendent@haverhill-ps.org and let us know what your questions are, and we would be happy to address them. I thank you all for joining us, and I hope you get outside and enjoy this beautiful weather.